Hi friends, Thak here for the noobs. I've completed the Halo Infinite campaign last week, and I wanted to explain the whole story for you, just in case you missed a few bits of detail. The story of Halo Infinite starts after the events of Halo 5. Cortana has led an AI revolution and taken control of Forerunner weapons known as Guardians. Master Chief is sent on a mission to neutralize Cortana by deleting her. During the mission, however, Master Chief and the ship Infinity is ambushed by the Banished and their leader Atriox. The Banished are a splinter cell faction of the Covenant Empire. Essentially, a long time ago they disagreed with how the Covenant was being run, and Atriox took leadership of a faction from the Covenant that became known as the Banished. Atriox and the Master Chief end up fighting, but Master Chief loses and is sent drifting out into space. 6 months later, Echo 216 finds Master Chief and brings him into his small pelican. After booting up Master Chief again, Echo 216 wants to go back home, to Earth, but Master Chief knows they can't let the Banished gain control of the nearby Halo ring. After destroying a Banished dreadnought in space, Master Chief and Echo 216 travel to the Halo ring, known as Zeta Halo. The Halo has seemingly been damaged, but at this point, the reason is unknown. Once on the ring, Master Chief starts by retrieving the weapon. The weapon is an AI built to imitate Cortana to take her for deletion. While the weapon states that she was successful in her mission, she has failed to self-delete per her programming. Again, the reasons at this point are unknown. Master Chief retrieves the weapon and begins to experience visions of Cortana's memories and thoughts, left as residual data following her death. We see the moments Cortana and John 117 actually first meet, and it's quite a touching moment. We find Zeta Halo is largely controlled by the Banished, now led by Atriox's lieutenant, Esrim, after Atriox's apparent death, although we never really witnessed this on screen. Master Chief, the weapon, and a reluctant Echo 216 rally scattered UNSC forces on the ring's surface. After infiltrating a Banished installation known as the Tower, Master Chief learns from a dying Spartan that the Banished have excavated a Forerunner facility known as the Conservatory. Inside, Master Chief encounters Despondent Pyre, the AI caretaker of the Zeta Halo. Despondent Pyre attempts to warn Master Chief of a threat contained on the installation, but is subsequently destroyed by the Harbinger. The Harbinger is an alien that was reawakened by the Banished upon their arrival on Zeta Halo. The Banished were excavating Forerunner subterranean structures and eventually came across a Silex that contained an alien species, of which the Harbinger is one of. The Harbinger was released from her Silex by forcing a human prisoner of war, Lucas Browning, to interface with her Silex. The Harbinger claims that her people, the Endless, survived the firing of the Halo array, but was subsequently imprisoned by the Forerunners on Zeta Halo. We learn she has allied herself with the Banished in order to rebuild the Silent Auditorium, a facility which will allow her to free her people, the Endless. It is thought the Forerunners imprisoned these species due to their ability to survive the firing of the Halo rings, although there may be other reasons we don't quite know yet. Echo 216 reveals that he was an engineer aboard the Infinity and stole the Pelican to flee the battle when the Banished attack the Infinity. Master Chief comforts him, admitting his own guilt over his failure to save Cortana, and they share a moment. Master Chief and the weapon stop the Halo's repair process by disabling a series of spires on the ring. The spires are towers that produce the materials needed to fix the broken ring. When the Harbinger attempts to hack the weapon, the Chief activates a failsafe to delete the AI. Now this is in part due to his experience with Cortana, and he feels deleting the weapon is the safest way to go about things. However, the weapon repels the Harbinger and deactivates the failsafe, angrily asking why Master Chief doesn't trust her. After seeing a vision in which Cortana uses the Guardians to destroy the Brute's home planet of Dosak, the weapon realizes that she's a copy of Cortana, and insists that the Master Chief delete her so she does not become like her predecessor. Master Chief refuses though, stating that he wants to trust her. At this point, we also see Echo 216 being captured by Esrim, who is revealed to be terminally ill, and brought to the House of Reckoning, which is the headquarters for the Banished, as bait for the Master Chief. After losing Cortana and countless others, Master Chief isn't willing to let another soldier and friend die, so he sets out to save Echo 216 by infiltrating the facility. Of course, he takes the weapon with him as he'll need her help. After making it through a number of tests, he eventually does battle with the Banished leader Esrim and wins. After this, Master Chief and the weapon save Echo 216, and then proceed to infiltrate the Silent Auditorium to stop the Harbinger. The two learn that Cortana was in fact captured by Atriox after the weapon locked her down. Upon realizing that Atriox intended to use the ring, she destroyed herself and damaged the Zeta Halo to stop it being used, while also preventing the weapon from being deleted, so she could assist the Master Chief in Cortana's place. It's in this moment we learn that Cortana, in the end, was good, and much of this was driven by Master Chief and John 117. A final message left behind by remorseful Cortana says goodbye to the Chief, urging him and the weapon not to repeat her mistakes, and to become stronger from them. For you Halo OGs, you'll know the relationship between Cortana and Master Chief is at the core of the Halo games, and it's so important. It's almost sad to see this happen, but that's exactly how Master Chief feels. The battle isn't over though. After this, the Chief comes face to face with the Harbinger and eventually is able to defeat her, but he's unable to stop her from contacting someone regarding the Endless. Afterwards, the weapon and Master Chief are able to reunite with Echo 216, and together they resolve to continue fighting against the banished presence on the ring. Echo 216 reveals his real name is Fernando Esparza, and he follows by asking the weapon what her real name is. We've only known her as the weapon up till this point. But before this we did learn that Cortana was able to choose her own name, and when the weapon looks at Master Chief, he signals to her that she can choose her own name. She says she has decided on the perfect name for herself, but what it is isn't quite revealed. Now it's possible she will choose the name Cortana as well, but it's also possible she might choose something else. I guess we'll have to wait till the next Halo game to find out what that name will be. In a post-credit scene, Atriox uses a key to unlock a sealed door, leading to the Endless. If you did finish the game on Legendary difficulty, then the scene opens with the date 97368 BCE, in which Despondent Pi is heard speaking with the Forerunner Grand Edict about the imprisonment of the Endless. When Despondent Pi states that she cannot oversee the study of the Endless alone, the Grand Edict replies that the AI, Offensive Bias, has been deployed to assist her. By the way, in this legendary ending, we are seeing and hearing two different timelines. The audio is from the past and reveals some backstory about the Endless, while the visuals show the present, and the not dead Atriox is seemingly freeing the Endless. And that is essentially the story of Halo Infinite. It features a lot of story points for things that happened in between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. Ultimately, it's a redemption story for Cortana. That's how it kind of ends. It also introduces the Endless as a potential new enemy and threat, which Master Chief might have to deal with. Plus, the end leaves the Halo ring, Zeta Halo, still damaged, and plenty of banished forces still occupying the ring. Now, I personally really enjoyed this Halo Infinite campaign. It was so much better than Halo 5, and I'm really glad we got to see some actual decent story this time. The main thing I didn't like was Cortana's involvement in this story. Cortana's so important to the Halo series, but too much of her story happened outside of this game. Plus, the final moment between Cortana and Master Chief felt like it just missed a little bit of sentimentality. If you think back to Halo 4's final moment between Cortana and Master Chief, that felt like the goodbye fans and John 117 deserved. The good news is, Cortana isn't completely gone, because the weapon kind of is Cortana, although she will be her own person as well, as Cortana clearly says. I hope this recap was interesting for you and gives you a better idea of what you actually played through in Halo Infinite. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.